let's stick with the tariffs because we're getting some sobering assessments from corporate America this morning. In a letter to shareholders, J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon wrote, quote, whether or not the menu of tariffs causes a recession remains in question, but it will slow down growth. We're joined now by CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Jill, good morning. Another J.P. Morgan paper over the weekend had a headline, "There will be blood." Doesn't sound good. What can people do who are looking at their portfolio and wondering, panicking?
I know this is very scary. I mean, this is unprecedented to see this kind of loss over the course of 2 or 3 days when there's not an external event that causes it. It's really our doing here, the United States policy and these tariffs that has caused this to occur. So what I try to say to people is I look back at history, even when we've had catastrophic events in the markets like the dot-com boom and bust, the crash of 1987, even going back further, the COVID crisis, the Great Recession, over the long term, stocks will come back. It's going to be very uncomfortable right now. I'd like to refrain from any money that's long term, but if you need money in the next 1 or even 2 years, I would be careful. I wouldn't have it at risk. So you know how I always say, oh, you need an emergency reserve fund? Because you don't want to have to go into your stocks, into your retirement account, grab money at the worst possible time.
Well, what if you have somebody who's this year is the year that they're retiring? This is the year that they need that money to send a kid to college. This is the year that they're planning on buying that.
Well, I think that if you need if you need the money in 1 to 2 years, you have a big decision to make. I would get the money out because I don't want to wait around and risk further losses. But if you're retiring, you're 65, you're retiring this year. Think about it. You're investing for the next 20 or 25 years. So maybe you want to take enough out, like if you need to pull money out for the next year, whatever you would need, put that aside in a money market account, sure. But everything else, keep to your game plan because, again, over the long term, you should be okay.
Just on Friday, the president posted on social media talking to Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman. Now is a perfect time for Jerome Powell to cut the interest rates. How likely is he to do that under these current circumstances?
Well, Powell spoke about 15 minutes after that tweet went out. It was very interesting. And what he said was specifically, they don't know what is going to be the impact of tariffs on the economy. That's what Powell said. The economists at the Federal Reserve don't know it. Remember, the Fed's got 2 jobs. They have to balance these 2 jobs. I want the economy strong enough to be able to create jobs, but I don't want there to be too much inflation. Tariffs, by their very nature, they raise prices. They are inflationary. And I don't think Jerome Powell wants to be the Federal Reserve chair who reignites the inflation embers at the worst possible moment. I think the Fed is going to wait. They're not going to do anything. The next meeting is in May. And I don't think that they're ready to move unless there's huge disruption in the markets.
But
then
what
they
do you
might
think
do
the
something.
president knows that the experts don't? Because universally, this seems to be being slammed as a self-inflicted, unnecessary wound.
I think it would be hard to ascribe the motive, except to say that for 40 years, the president has believed that the United States is getting ripped off. That is his mantra. And I think when you talk to economists, you say, hey, we're not getting ripped off. We bought goods. We got stuff. We gave them our dollars. That's a trade. That's a deal. For some reason, the president seems to think this is the way forward. Again, I believe this is a self-inflicted wound. And for most people, conserve your cash. Watch your spending right now. You want to go out and buy a car because you need one, that's fine. But be very careful. We are on the precipice of a slowdown and potentially a recession.
Wow. All right, Jill Schlesinger. Yeah, with some sobering information for our viewers. Thank you, Joe.